It's like, hey, he's messing up all my hard work. We'll find out soon. Is that a good piece? No? Ah, okay. See that? A little speck there? It's got to come off. I want to make it as clean a resin as possible, right? Clean resin?
Yes.
Clean resin. She's got to have a really good eye for that, you know? What happens next?
Okay, I'll show you now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Ah. So this is the second phase?
This is the second phase, because chop it, After now she's separating, you know?
Yeah. But she's basically winnowing these pieces of bark, small bits of bark.
Yeah.
At each stage of processing, the incense is refined until it's ready for market. The highest grades are exported throughout Africa, the Middle East, and beyond, continuing a trade that began thousands of years ago.
So this is the product of all their hard work?
Yep.
Wow.
That's quality.
So if the Queen of Sheba went to Solomon with this, that was an offering?
Of course, there is nothing a gift more than this, you see?
This is worthy of a king.
It is a wonderful present. It is more than gold.
Wow.
If frankincense has been such an integral part of the economy and culture here for so long, perhaps Tigray province could have been the land of Sheba. We head on to the tiny village of Yeha, just a couple of hours away, to check out a temple. I've been told it dates back to the beginnings of civilization in Ethiopia. Miss Ghana tells me that Yeha was the center of the first state to arise in Ethiopia, between 2,500 and 3,000 years ago. This puts it around the right time for the Queen of Sheba. Could there be any relationship between this place and the mysterious Sabaean civilization? The temple is now little more than a shell, but with its high, well-built walls, it must have been quite a sight in its day. Perhaps even suitable for a legendary queen. The complex has since been converted into a Christian church, but the shrine's pagan past is apparent everywhere. Elements from the original temple, like these antelope heads built into the church wall, are still revered. Inside, the monks show me their most prized artifacts, inscriptions removed from the temple. Unfortunately, no one here can read them. In fact, the language they're written in doesn't even come from Ethiopia. What the monks can tell me, though, is that the language they're written in is Sabaean, and that it comes from South Arabia. This is exciting information. Doug Gropp told me that the queen might have come from either the Horn of Africa or South Arabia. The evidence here at Yeha indicates that her people may have immigrated to Ethiopia from Arabia, which means I'm hot on the trail. I traced the frankincense trail to the Horn of Africa in search of the Queen of Sheba. I learned how the incense is processed, and I explored the ruins of the first Ethiopian state. Now, despite the warnings of the U.S. State Department, I'm heading 100 miles east across the Red Sea to the South Arabian country of Yemen to track the queen and her civilization. My first stop is Sana'a, the ancient capital of Yemen.
So, I've come from Ethiopia, where I've learned that this Sabaean culture has roots here in Yemen.
Of course, yes.
What is the relationship?
Dr. Hussein Al-Amri is a professor at Sana'a University.
The Yemen in that time was a center of merchants, and Sana'a, the capital especially, was one of the oldest souk of Arabs.
Really? So this city is one of the oldest markets?
Yes, there were.
Hussein believes that the Queen civilization was based here in Yemen and was built on commerce. He explains that the Yeha temple I saw in Ethiopia was actually a Sabaean colony, established when they extended their trade networks into the Horn of Africa.
So people have been meeting here for thousands of years?
Yes, of course, yes. Buying, selling,
yeah,
watching, spending their time.
It's a beautiful city. So tell me about
the Sabaean civilization lay at the crossroads of trade and antiquity, controlling the movement of goods between east and west.
This is the spice section.
Spices from India, gold and ivory from Africa, silks from China, and of course frankincense all passed through the kingdom of Saba before heading north on the caravan routes to the markets of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Mediterranean.
They seem to sell everything. Special price today, just for you, my friend.
But Sana wasn't the Sabaean capital. If I'm to find the queen, I need to head to a city called Mareb, just 100 miles east over the mountains. But it might as well be a world away. It's in a very conservative, tribal area of the country that's known for its animosity towards outsiders. I'm told in no uncertain terms I should postpone my visit. In order to even make the trip, I need to find the right escort. Hussein sends me to the former governor of Mareb and the present governor of Sana, Abdulwahed al-Bukhiti. Abdulwahed tells me that the Bedouin who live in Mareb highly value their traditional customs. He suggests that before we head out, I should pick up a jambiya, one of the large daggers that I've seen nearly all the men wearing here in Sana. If participating in the local traditions is the best way to gain acceptance and keep me safe, I'm all for it.
Touch this one? It's okay?
Yeah, you can.
Now, which is more important, the blade or the handle?
The handle.
The handle.
Yeah. You can recognize anyone in the street through his gambia.
So
you know he is from this area, he is from that area, this one from this tribe, this one that tribe, by his gambia.
Jambiyas have been an important status symbol in Yemen going back to Sabaean times, and they communicate a lot about their owners. History and personality count. The older the jambiya handle, the more prized it is. Abdulwahed tells me that one sheikh recently paid $1 million for an especially prized jambiya.
what do you think? It's pretty nice, huh?
Jamil. In
Yeah.
Arabic, Jamil means nice.
Nice. Good?
Very good.
Like this or like?
Very good.
I
Okay,
guess
it's
it's
okay.
straight up, yeah?
Yeah. You are Sabaean.
Shukran? All right, this
Now
is
that
fun.
I've got my jambiya, Abdulwahed gives me a lesson in another time-honored Yemeni tradition. Cut.
We chew it like this. Yeah. You can use it. Yeah, huh? Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Huh? How you taste it?
Yeah, it's got a weird taste.
Yeah.
Kind of tangy, bitter.
It's not.
Very
It's not
dry.
sweet.
Very dry. What happens when you chew a lot of it? Like these guys are
Make you comfortable.
like mellow.
Makes you works a lot.
Uh-huh.
You can read a lot. And you can't sleep.
Can't sleep.
Yeah.
Ah,
Keep
so
you up.
interesting.
Yeah.
And this is a tradition where
Khat is a natural stimulant, chewed by over 80% of the population each afternoon. It feels like about 6 shots of espresso.
okay,
You can
that
eat it.
No, I'm good. I'm
It's
good.
yours.
What?
Okay. He
More.
swear.
Yeah. What?
He swear and get for you to eat it.
It's not enough just to taste it.
I have to have more.
I've got to sign on for the full experience.
He swear and get for you to eat it all.
Oh my God.
So you can do it like this.
Really?
Uh-huh.
So I wouldn't want to offend him.
No,
Okay.
Nothing will happen. It's
Okay.
fine. It's fine.
I wish I could tell you what this tastes like, but it's like nothing else I've ever had.
Okay.
It's really bitter.
نتفعل البياس.
Like maybe if you ate a whole bunch of dandelion greens, but wow,
Oh.
bitter. Okay,
How is it?
shukran. I'm gonna wait until I get some sort of effect, and I'll just float away.
Okay, now we can pay him.
Now that I've had my crash course in Yemeni culture, I'm ready to head into the tribal desert.
So I'll settle up with this man here.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my excitement or the lingering effects of the Khat, but the next morning, as the call to prayer signals dawn, I can't wait to hit the road.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day. I've got my jambiya, and now I've got to meet Abdulwahed. We're going to Mareb. Shukran. Yalla.
The road to Mareb takes me from the mountainous highlands of Sana through some spectacular scenery to the flat, dusty edge of the vast desert known as the Empty Quarter. I'm going to meet Abdulwahed along the route. He's traveled ahead to guarantee my safety in this lawless zone. Over the years, this road has developed a well-earned reputation for highway robbery.
Good morning.
Some of the tribes have been known to kidnap travelers and hold them for ransom. Traveling with Abdul Wahid should make things go smoothly, but even he takes precautions. I gotta admit, this is my first time traveling in a car with 3 armed guards carrying machine guns. It's a little unsettling.
You always travel with guards?
Huh?
You always travel with guards? With armed guards? Yeah.
When you come to Mareb, you need to have guards.
Things have gotten better in recent years, but the 14 checkpoints we passed through along the way speak to the still volatile conditions. "100 miles later, we arrive safely at the outskirts of the city.
Old city, old Mareb.
As we approach the ancient town, I see buildings rising in the distance. When we get closer, though, it becomes clear that what I see is a city of ruins. Abdul Wahid explains that these buildings date back some 300 years, but that the city's foundations go back nearly 3,000 to the time of the Queen of Sheba. After so many centuries of civilization, it was a modern war in the 1960s that finally left old Mareb a crumbling relic, inhabited by only a few lonely squatters. As we move on, I can only hope that the rest of Mareb's ancient past hasn't met a similar fate, and that something of the Queen can still be found. I've traveled from the Horn of Africa to the deserts of Arabia in search of the Queen of Sheba. In the old city of Sana'a, I was welcomed by the local governor, Abdul Wahid al-Buhiti, who's escorting me through the lawless tribal deserts of Yemen. The Bedouin are famous for their hospitality, but hostility can also arise at a moment's notice, which we soon found out. After we left the ancient city of Mareb, heavily armed tribesmen surrounded our camp in the middle of the night. We were literally under house arrest. In a place where foreigners are routinely kidnapped, the stakes were very high. Thankfully, Abdul Wahid has taken pains to help me navigate the terrain. Drawing on his contacts from his days as governor here, Abdul Wahid has called a meeting of the local tribal sheikhs so that I can pay my respects and prove my intentions. I make sure to do all the right things. I'm dressed appropriately with my new jambia and a traditional tribal skirt called a futa, and I pay close attention to all the local customs.
I notice custom says we eat with our right hand only, yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And then the rice, you just kind of grab the rice? Okay.
Abdul Wahid explains my quest to the sheikhs, and the famous Bedouin hospitality quickly takes the place of the hostility, at least for now.
Cool. So this type of gathering hasn't changed much over the thousands of years, right?
Not a lot.
No.
This water in the bottles,
Yeah.
it shrinks.
Okay.
It's new.
And some of the foods, maybe.
The rice is new.
Cell phones.
Cell phones.
Cell phones are new.
Yeah, it's new.
Okay.
After dinner, we sit around the fire to share stories about the Queen of Sheba that have been handed down through generations here in Mareb.
It's okay?
Very nice, he said.
Yemeni.
Yemeni, yes.
Yemeni.
My new jambia goes over well. In Ethiopia, the legends I heard about the Queen of Sheba were very detailed and played a big part in defining Ethiopian national identity. Now that I'm here in Yemen, I want to hear the Yemenis tell her story and find out about the place she occupies in their history.